where we're going to share about the quantum world. So I'm going live both on Facebook and Instagram. So if you would like to ask me your questions, I would be super happy to connect with you. So in this live, we're going to work on understanding a little bit more what it means really to work in the quantum, what the quantum world is actually all about. Because spirituality is evolving fast, and that's awesome, right? But what does it really mean to work with the quantum, and how you can also access it now so you can accelerate your evolution and use these quantum principles to experience more happiness, more joy, and more abundance into your life. So there is a shift in vocabulary when we start really receiving from other people. So when you start listening, for example, to the transmission I facilitate, so it can be here free live on Facebook and Instagram. You can watch the replays on YouTube, or maybe join my podcast, or you can also sign up to any of my freebies, and then you will start receiving all of this coded content, which is really a content where I use a lot of words that relate to the quantum world. So therefore, you have more exposure to this vocabulary, which is going to help you understand, oh, like she's talking about this and she's talking about that. So of course, like if you know me, you know I love to talk about all these things, so we could literally talk about it for an infinite amount of time, because the quantum is infinite. But for today, I will especially work from my own understanding of it. So if you start Googling it, or if you start listening to some transmission on Gaia channel, for example, which is absolutely amazing, you will start receiving some angles which come more from science, so quantum theory, quantum physics. And that's amazing. So I'm learning that as well myself, so I can indeed have a greater intellectual understanding, conscious understanding of the quantum. But then there is all that I download from my galactic team, and sometimes it's quite different and very different. So the first thing to realize is that there is no separation, there is no right or wrong. There are simply new ways of trying to express the new phenomena that we are encountering. So when now we start connecting with star races and quantum technologies, and we start experiencing more and more the power of manifestation and going into different time and space realities, like we have to find ways to explain what's happening, because it's new. Like not many of us, we have heard about that before, right? Or we have read about that. So there is a need for us to simply explore a vocabulary, explore ways of expressing what we experiment or there, basically when we close our eyes and then we go deep within, or when we go outside of us. So here is the first point that is very interesting. So if you start Googling on quantum, then you can start reading what it's written. And what's written is that quantum usually refers to something very small, to the smallest level possible, the atomic level, subatomic level. But then when I start myself sharing about quantum realities, then it's everything, it's kind of like quantum jump, quantum realities, everything seems so big, so powerful, so bam. So it's quite the opposite, right? So when I really tune into that, it simply shows that it is as above, so below, always the principle of fractal reflection. So fractal reflection is the body of work. It's the foundation of the body of work that I channel from, the quantum with advanced star races, and that is the foundation of the Fractal Alchemy University that I facilitate. So as above, so below always shows that what you find in a microcosm, in the smallest particle, you also find into the infinite, on the big scale. Interestingly, some friends and some students, they find it easier to find a pathway of going within. So they're going to go on a subatomic level in the quantum of their own cell, in the quantum of what they are within. Because what they find within is also what I would preferably go and travel outside. So for myself, I start going more outside, right? I start going up, or sometimes in the earth, but it's not so much inside. And what we observe is actually very similar. It can be similar experiences. So more and more I have myself played with the quantum level of going within and finding the universe inside my belly, inside my gut, which is absolutely amazing because this is the same pathways. So in the theory that I channel, it's explained that through fractal reflection, the center point is actually the time and space weaving that we can experience in the quantum, therefore weaving the smallest to the biggest. So it doesn't really matter which pathways you choose, as long as you keep your mind open to receiving information that is going to blow your mind, right? So this is the first point. The first point is always to keep the mind open and to stay curious and not to find separation. Because the Newtonian science paradigms that humanity has been living from for centuries and centuries, it comes from separatism, and this is it has allowed us to really isolate elements. We have understood a lot more about how a single individual can act in a certain environment and so on. So like it's not to discard the science that comes from the Newtonian paradigm, is just to realize that it has its limitation. And now we are entering an era of quantum physics, quantum understanding. And there, separatism is not there. Everything is conscious. Everything is connected. So when we start tapping into that, we can start realizing that sometimes a lot of limiting beliefs and the way we think and the way we approach even the spiritual world, even if we are not scientists, like I'm not a scientist, definitely not. What I say here is not, I don't have PhD or anything like that in quantum science or any science, by the way. But it's understanding that we are shifting paradigm and therefore we must leave behind what we thought was right, what we saw was true, that we can only trust what we touch, right? Because actually what's explained, and that's actually from science, is that we only know about 5% of reality. So here we start tapping into the second point that I would like to share with you. When I personally talk about the quantum, I talk about everything that exists. Otherwise, I would talk about, for example, about the Earth realm, or about the galactic realms. The galactic realms, it's advanced star races. Or I would start talking about Galactic Federation, which by the way I don't work with, or about other systems like the Krana collective, which I work with. And so we start realizing that the quantum is actually everything. The quantum is the infinite God source. So in a certain way, these are one and the same, because source is everything. You are source, I am source, everything is source. Source simply expresses itself in an infinite ways through the quantum. So everything exists there, and it's very, very exciting. So something that is very interesting that I find in science is that when we start looking at atoms, you have the little electron oscillating around the center point, right? But then it means that there is space. This electron oscillates around, it navigates around the electron. So mostly there is space there. There is no matter as such. So if we were to remove all the space that exists in our atoms, literally all that we are would fit on the tip of the pen. That's freakish. And apparently the whole of humans, we would be a cube of sugar. So we are actually made out of space. We are made out of space. And science has only determined 5% of a reality, meaning that 5% is what we observe and what we know what is. And then there is about 20-25% that we can observe, but we don't know what it is. That's dark matter. And then there is the whole rest, which is called basically dark energy, because nobody has a freaking clue what it actually is. So it's interesting to observe that actually most of our reality we've got zero clue about, and that is the quantum. The whole of it is the quantum, is what we observe, what we don't know about, and what everything resides out there. When we start accessing the space between the particles, we start accessing the infinite amount within the quantum, which reside within the self and which reside outside of ourselves. Okay, so therefore we know that all possibilities reside out there. It already shows us and allows us to reclaim more of our creatress code, right? Because if everything is available, it means that I can have access to this, I can have access to that. You know, like some people have access to amazing connection with their races, some people have access to millions of dollars, some people have access to living by the sea, like I do now. Some people have all of these access, so why not me? When we start realizing that the whole of reality is the infinite quantum, we can allow ourselves to open up our mind and to stay curious. Now, questions don't need to be answered. If you always try to answer all questions, it just shows that there is a lot of uncertainty in your field. There is a lack of confidence, lack of trust. Sometimes, and most of the time, I raise questions and I don't know the answer, because it means that I direct the question in the quantum. I allow my field of energy to open, and I allow the answer to come as it is, as pure as it is, and as crazy as it is, right? Because sometimes a question stays out there in the field for months onwards, and then there is another question and another question, and so I'm like, I don't really understand this, I'm not sure about that, or why this or why that. But because there is no need, there is no impatience in my field about getting that freaking answer right now on why I feel this way when I talk to that person. Why does that person trigger me like this? Why am I experiencing this? I need to know why. Why do I need to heal? How and what? No. I stay as the observer. This is the observer effect without projection. Because when you learn about quantum physics as well, it is demonstrated that, for example, light is neither a wave nor a particle. It's both, equally both, because the observer effect influences the results of the experiment. So it means that if the scientists set up the experiment to observe light as a wave, it will behave as a wave. If they set up the experiment to observe light as a particle, it will behave like a particle. So what is it? We don't know. It is both. It is everything and it is nothing. So that is the observer effect. So that's very important for you to understand. If you want to start accessing more and more of the quantum world without really knowing what you do, meaning like you're not going to start traveling and doing time and space travel and work with alternate realities and star races and so on, you can start accessing the quantum through questions. So raise questions that you don't have answers to, and try not to project any answers. If you observe yourself projecting an answer, just notice how that projection comes from this fear or from that past reality, from what my parents used to say constantly to me, and so on and so on. And then allow yourself to be patient, and then one day the penny will drop. Like literally, I had all of these questions, bam, 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 about like Galactic Federation, not making sense with this. Why do I not feel connected to that? Why I'm not receiving download on this, and that? And I didn't really know the answer. I was not looking for it. I was observing my inability to receive questions with quite a lot of interest from a place of love and connection to the self. And then all of a sudden, one day in meditation, bam, 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 everything started coming. Everything was linked. That's the bigger picture, darling Cendrine. And this is only because my little antennas were there directed out. I can also direct them in as it is out, it is in also. So that's a really, really good and practical and easy way for you to shift your reality by raising questions. You know, sometimes some of us, for example, have a hard desire to have a lot of money, and we're going to fight it because, like this, we start fighting reasons. I would like to invite you not to do that. Don't fight your heart desires because you are blocking your intuition. You basically say fuck all to your soul because your soul is like, manifest, bring millions in, manifest. And it's like, no, that is not spiritual. I should not listen to you. It's like, how dare us, to block this intuition flowing through. No, come, bring it in. It's like, okay, so I have this desire to manifest millions. It doesn't really make sense. I don't know why. I don't know how. I'm just going to listen to it and honor it. So if you want to know more about your intuition, I did a free transmission last week. There is a lot on my website as well, lot free gifts. So I would like to invite you to, get that if you want to refine your intuition. So once we start receiving messages from our intuition, we allow them to expand and we raise questions. Why is it in me like that I want to bring millions in, that I want to be a millionaire? Why now? Why is it amplifying? How does it relate to my work? How does it relate to my role as a mother? How does it relate to my role as a light leader? And then you're going to start receiving downloads because you keep your field open, you see? You don't judge the self. You don't judge the experience. Okay? So when we start talking about quantum jumping realities, for example, so that's another point here that's really cool because we hear that a lot. We hear a lot about quantum jump and quantum leap and so on. Again, if you Google it, it talks about the smaller thing. I personally refer to it as the biggest thing because why not? As above, so below, as small, as big. So when we start quantum jumping realities, it literally relates to the architecture of life that is present currently into our field. What the hell does that mean? So the architecture of life present in our field right now is basically all the timelines available to you. So there is a constant collapse of timelines. Most people don't even understand it. They don't see it because this is so very small, right? But then there are the massive collapse of timelines that people feel and see, and it's freaking obvious, but they don't know there are collapse of timelines. They are just basically, what the fuck is going on in my life? Why do I need to experience it? Therefore creating resistance. For example, a relationship breakup. Someone that we love so dearly getting sick, very sick. Or someone that we love dearly passing. Look, anything that happens basically in our lives all of a sudden like that, it's basically like a timeline shift. It's taking us into a different journey. We had this nice routine in place, just going with the flow, enjoying life, doing this and that, and all of a sudden experience comes, timeline shift. So most of humans at the moment, they are like being rolled like that. They've got zero clue, zero control, zero understanding of the process that is happening. So this is why it's exciting to work with quantum world and quantum realities. It's because instead of being the victim of experiences happening in your field, you actually have a great understanding of this architecture of life, of why this is happening, how you can wire the higher frequency of this experience, fractal experience, so you can navigate that experience with joy, as much joy as possible, of course, depending on the experience, but with, with surrendering, with flow, with courage, with confidence, with trust in the self, trust in life and the universe. And then when you start navigating the timelines that are present often to you, coming out of nowhere, from a place of observance, but of mastery as well, then you start gaining access to knowing the timelines available to you and being able to choose them accordingly. This is what I've been playing with for over a year now, and this is why I'm experiencing the huge vortex of quantum manifestation that I'm experiencing, like literally living my dream life now, which is absolutely amazing. It's because of this mastery of seeing and understanding all the timelines available within my quantum reality right now, and always choosing to align my frequency to the highest point from that timeline. So it means that I adjust my vortex to the timeline available, and then I can access it. So when we quantum jump reality, We go from one reality consciously choosing like to go to another one. So I have done many quantum jumps in the last year. And the last one is basically moving into my dream area, which is like a luxurious house overlooking beautiful beach and the sea and so on. It's like I'm manifesting my ideal 5D avatar body. I've never been so healthy, so strong, so fit, so happy in my physical body and so on. It's because of this deep awareness of all the timelines available and of the work that I do, because I don't sit on my couch relaxing waiting for it to happen. No. Like when we work with precision in the quantum, we do the freaking work. We do the work on the self and we do the work to serve others. And therefore it allows us to shift realities very fast, because we basically send signals from the self, from our quantum microcosm to the quantum macrocosm, and there we create a resonance in terms of frequencies. So when we start creating resonance in terms of frequencies, it means that my quantum universe within myself, the quantum universe that I cultivate all the way to my subatomic level, to my cells, all of that is creating my quantum universe. So all of these frequencies that I'm vibrating at, and therefore it's going to attract the manifestation in my outside reality that are a match to that. So that's awesome. So really quantum jumping realities is going from something that is kind of normal to something freaking mind-blowing. Like honestly, like people don't get how I can live here. Like most of my, like some of my friends that know the work I do, they get it, but very few people actually get it, because like my ex-husband, like he doesn't get it. Nobody gets it basically because it is so big. It is such a big quantum jump in realities, right? And it is only starting. It is only starting. So this is very exciting, because now the gateways are open. We have star races that are here to train us in this. So they train me so I can train you. This is why I have Fractal Alchemy 5D Quantum University, because all of this, I share with my students, I train them. Like now we are going through a module about fractal transmutation. Next module starting in April is about the galactic realms, which is going to be amazing, because we're going to start refining the connection with very important star races, but also we're going to start creating connection with new star races that were not in communication with humanity before, for all sorts of reasons. And now these star races, they are looking for ambassadors basically on Earth, so they can start sharing also the knowledge they have about their part in the quantum. Because the Arcturians I work with, they are very advanced. They know a lot. They are master healers. They are badass, but they don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Only God does. Only the source of everything has all information. We get access more and more to higher, greater level of information as we ascend, as we increase our frequency, as we work with different star races. But basically, this is why the collective I work with on Krana, it's many star races together, because they share information, because they are all interested in evolution. They are all in the 9th dimension at the moment, and I sit with them and I share the information I have with them. They share the information they have with me. Therefore, I can translate that into this reality. Okay, so if you are interested into understanding more about the quantum world, start listening to people who talk about it. But now that at the moment, because it's a new field in spirituality to work with quantum realities, there is a little bit of everything and out there. So really tune in into your intuition to observe the teachings that you are receiving. If it feels like expansive, empowering, coming from a place of love, of connection, really encouraging you to be your own sovereign being, then that's really good thumbs up, right? If it's something that's gonna remove you from your sovereignty, you're gonna feel a little bit like, stressed out and overwhelmed and so on, it just shows that is not for you. It doesn't necessarily mean that that teacher or that channel is shit. It just means that what is being shared is not for you. individually with your unique soul blueprint, right? It means that there is other people. So again, I have a lot on my website that you can get for free, but there are other people who share about that. Okay? So I would love, thank you all so much for watching. It's a pleasure to be there with you all. Do you have any questions? I'm happy to answer any questions at all around the quantum. I don't want to overload you with information, but if you have questions, you can type on Instagram, on Facebook. It is fine. Okay, let me see if anything else needs to be shared. So the recommendation that is coming from my team is that humans start accessing the quantum within the self first, because it is the safest way and the most important way. The pathway of evolution that humans take is through the self, from the self and for the self. So everything is about the self, everything is about you, yeah, nothing is about you, but everything is about you. So it's always know yourself, know the self, like was written in Delphia in ancient temples, while the Pythia was a trance channeling for the humans. So my team says that start going in the quantum within the self, and for that simply it's through meditation. Go in meditation in silence, because as I have explained before, on an atomic level you have a lot of space, like if we were to remove the space, remember there's not much left as matter, so we are mostly space, right? So when knowing this, when we start silencing the mind and creating space within the self, actually we access that space. We access the space within the self, which is the quantum world within the self. Hey Francisco, que bueno. Nice to see you here. How do we visualize timelines available to us? I love it. Very good question. All questions are excellent. So it depends. Like for me, I'm quite visual. So if I close my eyes and I simply start asking, like, what are the timelines that are the most available to me in this very moment, which changes literally with every breath that we take. But let's not go into that. It's like I ask, okay, what are the timelines available? And for me, because I'm visual, I know that the one that is in front of me is the one that I'm on at the moment. The ones that are on the left are a lower timeline, and the one on the right are higher timelines. And so sometimes I'm just walking on this timeline and I visualize it as a path. And I ask to be shown what resides on this path. Like I kind of already know, because like I have you as my student, Francisco, and I have like other students, and I have my house, and so I kind of already know what's on my timeline. But then there are things happening in my life that are bringing changes at the moment, and so I want to have information about that, especially about relationship and romance. So I just observe that, and then I can see all the ramifications. So it's like this timeline is here starting, I'm there, but very quickly there are other ones, and then I can start navigating. So when we start navigating timelines, Francisco, we're gonna learn about that in module 3, the Quantum University, when we learn about quantum architecture, because it's quite deep. So yes, I won't go into details now because there's just too many formulas to this answer. But tune into yourself and observe how you can perceive. So for me it's visual, but you can also feel it. It could be like little chords. You can ask your guides to show you, and basically timelines, it's like the possibilities, if you were to now take the car to go buy a pack of cigarettes and drink alcohol and just do that all evening, that's a timeline. But if you were instead to sit home and meditate, that's another timeline, and that's one of very low frequency, that's one of very high frequency. Maybe you will choose to watch something interesting instead, which is kind of more a middle ground timeline. So all of that is come just from the choices that we take. So most of the time we can consciously work with timeline from this choice point, We choose always the highest point. Well, sometimes the highest point is actually to go get the cigarettes and the alcohol if we want to relax, because we never do it and we actually have friends visiting from overseas and we freaking need a party because we've been in lockdown, right? So sometimes that becomes the most ascended timeline. You see, you have to really work from honor, from your place of integrity, into knowing what you need really, and really serve your needs. Be there for yourself first, be there for others, always act from a place of love and connection and abundance and freedom. And therefore you know that you start shifting into most ascended timelines. Sometimes it's all that we need, is that we need to be the bigger person in as many situations as we can. Okay? I love that question, Francisco. Thank you. Thank you very much. I see on Facebook there is another question. Oh, yes, Nicola. Yes, the quantum. Yeah, I'm trying to work through limiting beliefs at the moment. Yes, subconscious limiting beliefs, they are there and we observe them and then we don't pay attention. So I would like to invite you, Nicola, to when the limiting beliefs come, you just observe them, but you don't poke into them, because that's really outdated systems of healing. We don't need that. Now we work more with alchemy. It's way faster. We shift way faster with alchemy. And with alchemy, we simply observe, like, for example, okay, so my galactic team asked me to swim in the sea every single day. Or limiting belief coming. Oh, it means that I cannot, go on weekends with friends. Or, no, I don't want to do that. Things in the sea, it's gross. Or what are people going to think, if, everybody's sunbathing and I'm the weird one kind of swimming and running. All of that I observe, but I don't give a shit. I still do it. Like, they can die, these limiting beliefs, for all I know, because they are not mine. They are just outdated programs. So every time I see a negative belief coming, I'm just like, fucking die, bro. Like, I don't want you in my life. You're not in my life. You're not me. I am the light of the divine. I'm an infinite creator. I'm freaking goddess. I'm everything. Like you all are, Like, and this is what I choose, and this is what I align to. Therefore, I collapse timeline very fast. When I visited this house here, the amount of limiting belief that were arising in my field, and was like, yeah, bring it on, bring all the limiting beliefs on. And I just observed them and I was like, don't care, I'm still gonna take it. And I signed up the contract from a place of love and acceptance and excitement, because it is beautiful, magnificent. It is coded with luxury, it is coded with abundance, but it's also direct access to the quantum, because I can literally feel and see my dragons here. Like, no, I have amazing connection with mermaids because I swim in the sea every day, and every time I swim, and I can really feel them and they code my body. I have an infinite access here. So thank God I didn't listen to my limiting belief, otherwise no quantum jump. So there are many, many ways of working with the subconscious. And this is a work that is necessary. I just say, don't stay stuck in that, okay? I don't discredit work with the mind. I have done that work for many years, which has allowed me to be where I am now. But I didn't stay stuck in that. Otherwise, we stay stuck into this limiting belief that we are all broken, which, by the way, it's not true. We are not all broken. We are all infinite. We are all whole. We are just remembering. We are discovering, So I love these questions. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you. I'm happy to know that it's what you needed to hear. Beautiful synchronicity. I share what you need to hear. So if there is any other question, please let me know. I would be happy to answer. Otherwise, I'll tune in to see if there is anything else that my team wants me to share with you all. Yes, so they just want to explain. Hi, David. David Costanzo. We went to school together in Belgium. Nice to see you here, man. Salut, David. So, when we start traveling in the quantum, like for me, a question I have had is like, doesn't really make sense, because if we start traveling through space and there's an Arcturian here, and there is a dragon there, they can cross each other, like how in this reality Can we have invisible worlds and Arcturians and angels? Like, I mean, it's very cluttered. And then you have entities. I really don't get it in terms of space. Well, actually, that's got nothing to do with it. Everything is vibration. So when we start talking from an understanding of quantum physics, really the quantum is the behavior of matter and energy on the atomic and subatomic level within the body. We can also place that into the infinite quantum, the macrocosm. So when we know that it's the behavior of matter and energy, we understand more that it has everything to do with vibrations. So everything vibrates at a certain frequency, which is going to give it its quality. Like it can be a hard object, it can be silver, it can be gold, it can be wood. All of that have different vibrations. And this is why there is actually the chemical Mendeleev thingy. I don't know what's called in English. Anyway, so then you have the vibration that, like it's audition, thoughts are vibration, touch is a vibration. There are the vibrations and the signals, the frequencies that the whales can hear, that the bats can hear, that human ears cannot hear, that dogs can hear. So there are lots and lots of different vibrations. Like our physical body has a certain vibration. But then our etheric body and all the energetic layers have different vibrations. Our thoughts and emotions have different vibrations. The vibration of sadness. If you think about feeling very, very sad, if you start experiencing great sadness, that vibration, right? And the physical body is going to react to that vibration from that emotion. Now, if you think about excitement, like something that's super, super exciting, then you're going to start vibrating at a completely different level. Instead of being like this because you're sad and you want to curl into a ball, and wrap yourself with a blanket and just disappear, then you just want to throw the blanket away and gonna start running, to scream your happiness to the world. You want to know everybody to know about it. That's the vibration of excitement. So when we start working consciously with vibration, we can start locking in frequency. So if we consciously tap into joy and love and trust, then this vibration becomes more and more frequent. And because this vibration coming from of emotion is more and more present in our field, like our physical body, our mind, and our energetic field is going to start vibrating at a higher level constantly, therefore locking in that frequency. It means that we start literally increasing our frequency from the vibration that we consciously choose to embody in our field as often as we can. So it means that, for example, the human Cendrine has a different frequency that the human Nicola, that the human David, that the human Robert, that the human, Michelle. Everybody has different frequency depending on the vibration that we choose to place in our field, right? So that is for humans. But then you have star races, and star races, they vibrate consciously doing their work at certain levels, and therefore they're going to start locking in frequencies, allowing them to live in certain frequency. So we have beings who live in, like we are in 3D reality, then we have beings who live in the 4D, in the 5D, in the 6D, in the 7D, in the 8D, in the 9D. The collective I Trance channel is in the 9th dimension. So ninth dimension has depending on the dimensions, you have a general metric system that vibrate at a certain level of frequency. So it means that in the quantum, you're going to start meeting what is getting closer to your frequency. So it means that if you are a dick and you consume a lot of alcohol and you are very mean to people, chances are that your frequency is quite low. Most likely, you're never gonna encounter or start working with Arcturians from the 9th dimension. The gap is too big. But if you do a lot of work on yourself, or if you're born with, remembrance and so on, and then you start working on lifting up your frequency, then it becomes more of a match. It means that the pathways between these two realities within the quantum can be established. And therefore, you start accessing that reality. So your role, if you want to start accessing realities that are out there in the quantum or connect with advanced star races, is to actually raise your vibration consciously by choosing high vibes, by being the bigger person, living from a place of love and freedom, abundance, connection, and so on. And then you're going to start looking in higher and higher level of frequency, and that's going to allow you to connect more and more with ascended beings, angels and ascended masters, and all sorts of super cool advanced star races. And that's very exciting. So yes, I'm very excited because this is totally what I'm going to teach students in the next module, Fractal Alchemy Quantum University. So if you're interested, enrollments will start in 10 days actually. You can already start expressing your interest because we take only a limited amount of people. And for 3 months, we're going to simply refine our connection with all of these advanced star races. And you're going to start understanding more about your own soul journey, why you are connecting to these specific star races, but also start understanding how to consciously ask to access these star races, and maybe even get in contact with new ones that we don't have name for. Like, yes, I've worked with clients and students, and it's just like we take them somewhere in the quantum. It's like, never been here before, don't know what it's called, welcome friends. They're just like, you can name them, or you can just ask them what they want to be named. Okay, so start understanding the quantum from increasing your vibration, going deep in meditation, feeling, experimenting the space between the cells, the space within you, between your light particle. When you start really experiencing the space, which is stillness of the mind, this feeling of being really spacious within your physical body, therefore you're going to really increase and accelerate your evolution and your ability to connect, to connect to the microcosm and connect to the macrocosm. Awesome. So this live is going to be reposted on Instagram, hopefully, if there is no bug, but it's definitely on Facebook. Also, we repost on YouTube, and this is a podcast. So my beautiful assistant, Christina, will create all of that for me. Thank you, Christina. And you will be able to find it on my podcast. My podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all sorts of podcasts that you can find out there. Simply type Cendrine. If you type my name everywhere, you'll find me. It's easy. I'm lucky. I don't have to find different names. So just Google Cendrine and everything will be there. Also, if you like to read, it's also we transcript. We use a transcript. So basically, we write this transcript down, so it is posted on my blog post. So you can have access to that as well, which is awesome. I love to read personally. So for me, it's great to be able to read an article about this. And it's my great pleasure really to have so many of you watching and listening, also watching and listening to the replay. Thank you. I would be really happy if we stayed connected, and for that you can find me on all of these platforms mentioned, and also on my website when you can receive. I have so many gifts. I have like 8 freebies, and they are all amazing. They can all help you understand more about the quantum world, and also receive activation and trance channel activations from the Arcturian Council that I am so honored and excited to channel. So I am sending you a lot of love where you are in the world right now. Keep shining bright, my friend, because the world, the whole of the quantum is a better place when you shine unapologetically in it. We are here to have fun. We are here to enjoy life. So let's freaking do it now. Love you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.